I'm very happy to start this conference. I really do hope that we have the possibility to discuss about very important and relevant topics, and I think we are in the situation, in the condition to discuss frankly about several issues that are in front of us, especially in this moment. First of all, I would like to thank Patrizia and her group because they worked a lot in order to organize this conference. It's not that easy to, especially in this period, to organize and arrange a so big conference. If I'm not wrong, we are at the 8th edition, yes, exactly, of this conference. We started 8 years ago, and we changed a lot of the organization of this conference, but some very important for me points still remain. It means this kind of cooperation of the work of the research and teaching and school, the everyday practice of our schools. I think this is very important because, especially nowadays, and we will have a very interesting and relevant speeches about these aspects. I think about the use of the data in order to help the teaching, the schooling, and the policies in front of the big challenges that we have. It means the changes, the challenges that we should face in the very near future need data and research. But at the same time, I do believe, at the same time, researchers and all the practitioners in this field should have the humbleness, the attitude, the openness toward the schools, in order to understand their needs and what they really need in order to face their everyday life. I'm experiencing every day a kind of big gap between the research and our schools. It means it's quite a common experience to have a very interesting discussion among researchers, but to have the feeling that we are discussing about very important aspects that are not that relevant for our schools. They are facing so big issues, so big difficulties, and we should take that in very relevant consideration. And I think maybe with the use of data, with our discussion, we could also go in this direction. So I would like to ask you deeply to take into consideration also this aspect. And every time, how can I say, quite often, at least quite often, I heard from the research, we should do that, and maybe that would be interesting. But I think we should be more aware about the necessities and to face the difficulties. Avoid to use plastic words. For me, plastic words are like words like inclusion, personalization, differentiation. For me, to be entirely honest, I hope not to be unpolite or how can I say, annoying, but I think there are very important topics, big issues, but we should face this issue in a very practical way, I mean. And sustainability is also an issue in a pedagogical sense of the word. It means we should find solutions that are feasible for our schools. Otherwise, we are speaking, it's a very interesting conversation, sometimes exciting, motivating, but not useful from my perspective. And I think we should find and discuss by using the data, not the impressions, or not only our ideas that are of course very important, but at the same time I think we have to use the data in order to find the solution that could be helpful in order to face issues like immigration, differences among students, and so on. And just to give you an example, we are speaking a lot about the use and the value of the personalization. I think it is. It is very important, but we are given as granted, and I don't think it's so. I really don't believe it so, that for instance, personalization could be very helpful in order to reduce the gap among students. I don't think so, to be entirely honest. Because if we provide personalized schooling and teaching also to the good students, of course, they could have a bigger opportunity to, how can I say, to have better results. And potentially the differences among students could be even increased. But I think we should say, okay, we know that the data maybe could help us in order to face this problem, and the issue from my perspective is not to the gap among the students, but is to set a certain level of standards for every student. This is the point, and I think data researches could be very helpful in this direction, to face what the schools, our schools really need, our society really need. And I think that our work is a beautiful work, an excellent work, an exciting work, but at the same time, I think we have a huge duty toward the society. I think today and in the coming days, we will have the opportunity to discuss about this aspect. So, again, I'm very excited and very happy to have this opportunity, and please feel free to express your opinion, to discuss frankly, openly about the issue that you think are relevant, and I do hope we can finish this conference with better ideas, with something to say to the community. And again, I would like to thank you, all of you, because you take the time in order to stay with us, I hope 4 days, or at least a part of your time. I know that you are very, very busy, especially at the end of the calendar year. All of us have a lot of things to do. And thank you again, and I'm very happy and delighted to give the floor to our Vice President, Professor Renata Vigano, Renata, if I may, and thank you very much, and the floor is yours.
Well, thank you, former President Roberto. And good morning and welcome everybody. First of all, let me really say that I'm really happy and honored to be here to open this conference with you, because I'm conscious and I'm really convinced that it's an important opportunity. Maybe not everyone feels this, but I think that having long days together, discussing in a very open and frank way, it's something very important for not only for the Institute, for INVALSI, but also for schools, for researchers, and for our country, let's say. Then, just a few words, I'd say, joking, see a Barbara. What can I say? And as my English is not so fluent as Roberto's one, I simply wrote down 2 notes to point out one main idea that for me is very important. As my colleagues in INVALSI well know, I'm absolutely persuaded that the work of the Institute represents 2 common goals. I use this expression, a common good for our country that should be valued in many possible ways. And I'm referring both to the research expertise, INVALSI, but also to the huge amount of data that INVALSI has collected, analyzed, and made available to the community. I also refer to the educational, social, and cultural issues that INVALSI highlights. INVALSI has not solutions for social problems, cultural problems, but it makes a very, very important service to help to know better. As Roberto said, there are some blah blah that we often, plastic words, that we often use, too often use, without knowing exactly the dimensions of the questions, what they really are. And I think that this is the most important service that INVALSI gives to our country. In this sense, I believe that collaboration between INVALSI and the entire research system in our country, and abroad as well, should be strongly supported, as well as the work of connecting the education system and with, as you said, each individual school, because each entity has to become a resource for the future of education in the country. Simply scrolling out the program on the conference, you can see how it intertwines scientific questions, methodological questions, statistical studies, but also cultural issues, social issues, and so on, pedagogical, of course, and as well as policy matters. And I think that this is a good way to work together, to connect with different views of the problem, because education is a very complex, is a multifaceted issues, and only knowing it and working on it together, we can maybe not win, but improve something for our country, for our people. So, thank you to everybody and enjoy the seminar.
My English is less fluent than above. Good morning also from me to everybody, and welcome to this edition of the seminar. This year is a very huge seminar. We reached the record in terms of participation. We exceed 300 participants. It's the first time that we reach this number, and with 104 presentations. Why so much attention to INVALSI data and education data? I hope it is due to the recognition of the importance of data in improving related phenomena. Some time ago, a friend said to me, where I work, everyone is from Sardinia. Behind the fact that there is nothing wrong with this statement, I asked him to explain why he was thinking like this. His response was, because everyone I know in my office is from Sardinia, a place with 400 employees. This friend works with 30 of them, and for some undefined reason, 5 of them are from Sardinia. Is this a significant result? Absolutely not. We often see reality through the filter of our lived experiences, and this influences us in our decision and also create biases. This brings me back to a book I read some time ago, and also Roberto did, Factfulness by Hans Rosling. It's a very relevant book, which shows us that in a world where the information is increasingly accessible most of the time, we choose to remain ignorant, not consulting sources and also evaluating their reliability and making choices based on prejudice, outdated data and urban legends. The only way to get a true view of reality is to rely on a description made through quantitative data. This, together with appropriately collected qualitative data, make us understand the phenomena of our society. There is then a lot of discussion about data devoted to the policy. During this seminar, you will attend not only research in the parallel sessions, but also research keynote speech highlighting the importance of data. You will see the talk of Aline Pennisi, INVALSI, a mine of data, and where she will show us the potential of our data together with others to assess the impact of intervention. Our ex-minister Prof. Profumo, in his talk, How to Make Data Speak and Why, will show how data can make a contribution to the improvement of our school system. Prof. Rettore also again will tell us about the challenge of measuring the causal effects of an intervention. But also the panel discussion, broad-scale assessment, the tools for shaping policy beyond core competencies goes in this direction. In this regard, many universities in Italy are moving to conduct research useful to the policy. For this purpose, we need to highlight some things. The first is that the research to be done must be of interest of the policy. The second point is the research done must be understandable to the policies. And the third point, also important, is the research done must be disseminated in context where policy is present. Only in this way we'll be able to perform a service to our country and make all the investments in public research by research organization or university pay off. And about this, Hans Rosling says, I know that having the data is not enough. I also have to show it in ways that are pleasing and understandable to everyone. An additional new feature in this seminar are 2 moments dedicated to the school, with a plenary talk by Prof. Siniscalco, the IDI National President, with test comprehension as a skill to be built, data from the research, and a panel discussion led by our Prof. Vigano, the most beautiful job in the world. What do we know about teacher motivation? The choice of these topics is driven by INVALSI's intention to continue the work it constantly does with and for the school in a collaborative effort aimed at improving the school system. I conclude this speech with a mention to Saturday. Saturday is November 25th. As you know, we are celebrating the World Day for the Elimination of Violence Against Women, established by United Nations General Assembly following a brutal murder that took place in 1960s. In that day, in the Dominican Republic, the three Miracle sisters, because they were considered revolutionaries, were tortured and killed. INVALSI is joining this day for the occasion. A small contribution created by the statistical department of INVALSI will be distributed as a way of not forgetting what is happening. Just a few days ago, a girl was killed. It was the 103rd since the beginning of the year, so she was 22. It makes shudder to think that she could have been our daughter, our sister, our niece, our friend. Studying the data on gender-based violence shows dramatically that gender differences education should be done in a very young age, that gender stereotypes have such an impact on individuals that it affects their lives and their health. So gender stereotypes can be deconstructed. They must be deconstructed. And it can start everywhere. In a setting like this seminar, an international seminar on education, in our families, but also in all the schools, encouraging environments that are open to diversity. I hope that this edition will be full of interesting insight, and I wish you enjoy the seminar.